Hi, welcome to Miss Music, or welcome back to Miss Music. Cardiac's new album LSD has finally arrived, and it is a monumental release. I think fans have been waiting eagerly for this album, just for some new music from this influential post-punk band. And LSD, I think, promises to deliver with a unique blend of atmospheric soundscapes and introspective lyrics. Cardiacs have built a devoted following over the years. If you are a Cardiacs fan, then you'll know this is a special album, let's be honest. Not only because it's their first new release in 6 years, but because it's born out of extraordinary love, devotion, and loss. I first heard the Cardiacs about a year ago when you suggested I listen to their music, and I made a video about their album The Seaside, and that album captivated me, but I haven't been on the same journey as many of you. You spotted this exceptional band, you spotted their talent way back in the 1980s, and you have stayed with them throughout their subsequent releases. So I won't be giving an emotional backstory to this album because I'd feel like a fraud in doing so. It's just stuff I've read on Wikipedia. Instead, I invite you to share your comments in the comments section. And if you don't know the band, do read these comments. Hopefully there will be some, because the story behind the making of this album is truly fascinating and quite extraordinary. Rather than spend weeks analysing this album, which I normally do and then I'm late to the game, I thought I'd share my first impressions really after listening to the album through twice. And to be honest, this album really does exceed my expectations. The Seaside was a very experimental, rough and ready album, and it was essentially a demo. So I kind of expected this album to have those rough edges, that kind of unfinished feel. However, LSD is really a polished diamond. It's striking how well the tracks are written and how seamlessly they flow. Even the ones that initially feel like they are 4 different songs played simultaneously just sound great, and that's an incredible achievement. The opening track, Men in Beds, acts, I think, as a fanfare for the rest of the album, signalling what's to come, a kind of darkness in places. And then you have this kind of poignant repetition of the phrase, I surrender, which in itself creates a sense of foreboding. I really like the kind of medieval vibe present in this track, and that kind of resonates through the rest of the album. I previously compared the Cardiacs to Gentle Giant in a previous video, and that comparison I think feels even more justified here. 2 great bands playing around with an immense array of musical styles, stretching way back into music's past. There's also something really theatrical about this album. I think that may be due to the choral elements in many of the tracks that give it a larger-than-life feel. And I think theatrical in both literal and the figurative sense. At times, the album reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I mean that in a good way. It may seem like a contradiction to refer to the Cardiacs as a prog punk band, because in many ways their music, I think, defies categorization. Yet certain tracks on LSD have a definite prog feel. For example, on the track Skating, I had to pause and look up the credits because the guitar part sounded very much to me like Steve Howe from Yes. Of course, it's not him, but the track, like Yes, seems to be 3 or 4 different songs woven together to create something very special. What I really love about this album is that I have no idea where these songs are headed. They start in one way and then suddenly follow a completely different structure, and that is exhilarating. Yesterday, I was kind of debating with myself what score I would give the album, and I'll reveal that in the end. But I have to say this for the album. It is nearly 90 minutes long, which is a crazy length. And I thought it might wane towards the end. But then came the track Ditsy Scene, which I think was originally released in 2007. And that is an incredible piece of music. And it just shows how good this album is, because even when you're getting towards the end, there are still these absolutely brilliant songs. Overall, then, LSD is a polished, cohesive piece of work. And this cohesion is a testament, I think, to the band's ability to work together to create a vision beyond what most groups are capable of, if we're honest about it. Cardiacs have always been a band that defies an easy categorization, and LSD is absolutely no exception, blending post-punk, gothic rock and psychedelic elements to forge this really, really unique sound, and they have achieved something very special. LSD is an album that will resonate, I think, with both old fans and newcomers, offering a rich listening experience that is really going to reward close attention. Cardiacs have always pushed boundaries and challenged their listeners, and this album is no different. So my rating is 9 out of 10. I'm not sure what a 10 out of 10 would even sound like. So 9 out of 10 is excellent. It is an excellent album. There's no getting away from that. If you are a Cardiacs fan or just discovering their music, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on LSD in the comments below. Be sure to check out my other reviews and related content where I delve deeper into the world of post-punk, looking at people like the Throwing Muses, Christian Hirsch, Bob Mould, and also many, many kind of alternative different types of music. Thanks for watching. Do let me know what you think of this album.